32% of people on Facebook interact with brands compared with 68% on Instagram. And again, we are brands. That's what we are. Hey there, guys, and welcome to another episode of Vive Group Podcast with myself, Ty Arnett, CEO of Vive Group and professional Instaho. And with me, as always, is Vaki Etzebeth, Australia, New Zealand director. And for coupon code on supplements, check out his bio. And today, we're talking about killing the Instagram game.
We are. I like this topic. Something I'm very interested in.
It is. It's a good one. And I'm so happy we finally get to talk about this because I've been a big fan of Instagram for a long time. And when I say a fan, I mean that's where I spend my time.
Yeah.
That's a disproportionate amount of my time. And Facebook for me has been a tool, and I hate it. As a tool for business, I've always, it's made me money. Simple as that. But in terms of a place to hang out, a place to relax, a place to connect with people, it is scum. It is disgusting, and I hate Facebook. I just wanted that to go on the record, and I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg will be upset about that.
I think it's an exciting day for gym owners because I feel like we've been, our advice over the last few years, we've been kind of holding people back saying don't spend time on Instagram for business because it's not worth it. You can't really sell there. And we've been, Facebook has been very much the place where you sell and advertise, whereas Instagram has been where you go for enjoyment and entertainment and leisure, where, we're here to discuss the shift in tides.
Absolutely. The Insta winter is coming. Yes. It's here. So let's quickly explain why we're talking about Instagram today. Again, anyone who's worked with me or watched these videos in the past knows that my position has always been, look, if you want to make money, if you're here to advertise, and that's what these social platforms are about, is connecting and advertising to people, converting them into members, Facebook has always been the place to be. But there's been a bunch of changes, and we've all seen them over the years, but it's kind of a tipping point, I believe, has occurred. So originally we had the, what they call it, the adpocalypse or whatever, where your organic reach wasn't reaching as many people as possible. And then all of a sudden the same kind of restrictions started coming into your ads and your boosted posts. And now more, it's just getting worse and worse. And more recently, Facebook has shifted their focus towards families, friends, groups, and events, right? And away from pages, away from advertisers. So it's very hard for us to put ourselves in front of people. Now, I want to be clear before we get into this, not impossible, right? I still use Facebook to advertise. I think you should too. But what I'm saying is that the winds of change and the shift of where the best ROI is, we believe is now gone towards Instagram. Oh, it makes me so warm and fuzzy just to say it.
It feels good, man. It feels good. Yeah, I love Instagram, and I think, and it has been up until recently. It's been very hard to convert on Instagram because you can't have clickable links unless you have 10,000 followers plus. You couldn't have the swipe up function, and I think a lot of marketers and creators have just come up with really interesting ways to engage with people, to build a relationship with people through Instagram, and to in turn then get the sale or get the conversion. So there's so many more ways now. I feel they might have been there before. We just didn't know how to use the platform to for business, but certainly now there's so many great creative ways we can engage with potential clients.
Now, before we dive into this, guys, I want to make it very clear. You cannot take the overt, aggressive, put money behind it type ways that people have been marketing on Facebook for years. You can't just take that and then shift it over to Instagram, right? Instagram is still a public library, right? Or an art gallery, more specifically, right? You can't just run in screaming, who wants to buy a free entry? You still have to build relationships. You still have to have good visuals. All of that stuff hasn't changed. So Instagram is definitely, its case has risen a bit. It's more the fact that Facebook has dropped. That's what we're talking about here. So to give you guys some specific numbers here, I think these are current numbers. 32% of people on Facebook interact with brands compared with 68% on Instagram. And again, we are brands. That's what we are. You get on average 58 times more engagement on Instagram than you do with Facebook. Again, this is specific to brands. And it's less crowded. Right now, 93% of marketers are using Facebook, whereas only 36% of marketers are using Instagram. So these are just some numbers that we looked at real quickly to kind of validate what we've been seeing, experiencing, and what people a lot smarter than us have been talking about for quite a while, if we're honest.
Yeah, for sure. I think I've had the feeling that it's been happening, but it was really nice to see the actual stats and numbers line up with kind of the sense you get that things are shifting, less people are there, more people are here. Yeah, and I think like Gary Vee says, like if you guys don't know who Gary Vee is, definitely worthwhile looking him up. He's got some good stuff. But you want to be ahead of the curve in the sense that you want to recognize when the attention is shifting somewhere, and you want to be there, try and be the first on there. Now, obviously, Instagram's been around for years, but again, I think some of the things we'll discuss today, some of the strategies, not a lot of gyms or micro gyms are actually implementing these strategies yet. So, in that sense, you can be ahead of the market for our industry.
Awesome. Now, I just want to make something clear. We're going to jump into two very big things, two ways to use Instagram. Very practical. We're going to try and keep this as practical as possible. But before we do that, I want to be clear. We're not talking today about generic feed, right? You're just your normal posts, how to get more followers, all the hashtags, that kind of stuff. Number one, that's not our specialty. Number two, there are so many experts out there, right? Just jump on YouTube. There's a million people who will tell you how to do that. And that's also very one directional, right? It's not something that's new, and the conversation is mostly going one way, right? You can still reply to comments and stuff, but what we're looking for is something that is more about building relationships and connecting with people and marketing through that way. So just to be clear, we're not talking about feeds today. We're not talking about standard Instagram posts.
Yeah, correct. I think one thing that will really help you is, as we discuss these things, you want to be of the mindset that it's local. We're thinking local here. We're thinking about engaging with the people in our area, the people that can actually come to our gym, because you can so easily think, global with social media, but who cares if someone across, the world is engaging with the information? They can't be a client of yours. Sure. So I always try and just come back to, okay, I'm thinking local here. I'm thinking my city, my neighborhood. How can I engage with the people there,
100%. All right. So what's the first thing people need to be doing, bro?
Stories. Yeah, stories. Now, not in the way that I see every day, which I feel like we've been talking about this so much over the last couple of years, but not stories in the sense of just filming your class, being a little bit more creative, a bit more strategic, and actually adding value, using it. It's such a powerful way to build a relationship with people, to get them to actually take action and do things. There's so many cool tools now on stories, like polls and voting and all those kind of things. That's really cool. You can use to engage with people. So stories would be the number one thing I think we should talk about.
100%. And as I said before, remember, don't jump into stories trying to sell. Right, you've got to get out of this traditional marketing mindset in general, I think, in 2019, but especially if you want to be on Instagram, right? Your job is to connect and with people and have engagement, right? And not engagement in terms of a social media metric, but in terms of real engagement. Talk to people, get into people's DMs, comment on stuff, get them to communicate with you. We're going to talk about a bunch of that stuff. But just before we get into the practical, understand that whether it's with stories or anything else we're talking about, in marketing in general, it's about connecting with people, building relationships, building rapport, engaging with them. Yeah.
Absolutely. Important. Yeah. And I think so things like asking questions, asking the viewer to get back to you or to send you a message or to respond in some way is going to be the important thing, So not just putting something out and not having any kind of ask. I think that's important. What are you doing, man?
Well, I'm doing a story about talking about stories.
Oh, that's great. Of course. Very good. No, good work. Really distracting me there. No, it's good. No, I thought of doing that. Good job. Carry on.
I'll jump in. So one thing that I definitely recommend, guys, is staff takeovers. All right. So you've got a team. Number one, you want to make sure that everyone knows that you've got a team. You don't want to just be the face. This is something I struggle with a lot. Our team is spread out all over the world, and so it's kind of hard when I'm doing media and stuff to get everybody's face in there. But this is one of the easiest ways to do it, right? They don't have to be good in front of a camera. They don't have to have a camera. They don't have to, have anything. We've all got something to say. We've all got a story to tell, or we've all got a tip to give. So doing staff takeovers is an incredibly good way. Make sure that you have a generic password on your Instagram account. Don't use the same one you've got for internet banking, and put that out there. Give it to your team. Assign people. Do it on a rotating schedule. One staff member a week every month or something like that, and just have them show exactly what we're going to talk about here. Their daily tips and tricks, right? What they eat, how they train, how they prepare for today's workout. The one little thing that they try and keep in mind. The mentality. What it means to be a coach, right? So opening the box at 4 a.m. in the freezing cold and pitch black. It's not just about you doing all of these things. Having staff take over this kind of stuff as well is really, really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one thing I've done that I feel has been really really effective is taking content that I've already created previously, especially member stories, and cutting those up, slicing them up to a size where they fit on stories, and actually repurposing that content that I've created for stories. So you actually reuse stuff that you filmed previously. I would go through my whole library of videos I've created over the last year. I sounded so South African then. Wow. And just repurposing all those things, both for stories and the feed, but especially stories. So yeah.
Absolutely. And understand, guys, that what we're buying here essentially is people's attention, right? Treat it with respect, right? There's the old saying we all had when we grew up: if you've got nothing nice to say nothing at all. Or I think the 29 version of it is, or just say it on the internet. No one can hit you, right? It's the same thing here. If you've got nothing worth saying, don't. If you've got nothing worth posting, don't post anything, right? Sit down, think about what you're going to post. Post something of value. Again, you mentioned before, like just randomly going, the 9:30 class, hitting it big. Okay, number one, no one gives a fuck. The only people that might give a fuck are the people in the class, and guess what? They were there. They don't need to see an Insta story about it. Number two, people are watching it on their itty-bitty phones, right? They can't see what's going on, right? You're doing a boomerang of someone doing a kettlebell swing or something like that. They don't know what the fuck that is. It looks awful. It's terrible. No one cares. And you've just wasted some of their attention. So guess what? Next time they see you come up on their Instagram, they're skipping it. Right. And you can see this, by the way. You can look in your stats on your Instagram stories and see how many people are going back, how many people are screenshotting, how many people are skipping, what story they're skipping. So I'll put out a bunch of stories, and then I'll go through and find which one of these stories did people skip to the next person on. That was where I lost them. That's where I need to shut the fuck up, or I need to get to the point quicker, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, it's a really fragile relationship, I reckon. Like, it takes a long time to build up the following and the trust to engage with your content, but it's just one crappy post, one thing that doesn't matter, that's just a time waster, and straight away the trust is gone. Next time I see your your logo come up, I'm skipping it, or I'm even going into your profile and unfollowing you if it's continuous rubbish. Especially if you're filming your classes every day working out. I've unfollowed you a long time ago, and I'm sure a lot of other people have too.
Absolutely.
Just stop doing it. You guys are more creative than that. You're more creative than just filming your classes work out. You can do cooler stuff,
Yeah. Absolutely. The other thing that you've got to look at as well here is how you're going to engage with people. You don't want this to just be a one-directional conversation where you're always just putting out, hey, do this, do this, do this, do the. Oh, hey, here's what I think. Here's us doing something, right? It has to be a back and forth. So the easiest way you can do this is to ask a question and have people shoot me a DM, let me know, what's your favorite breakfast to get ready for training? What's your favorite flavor of protein shake? What's the number one thing that stopped you from trying to get into CrossFit? Like, ask questions and then shoot people to the DMs. And by the way, if you've got, for those who don't know, you've got to have 10,000 followers or more to be able to have a swipe up, so a link swipe up type thing. But they're not working as well as they used to, right? So what's working well now is the DMs. Right. So, hey, if you're interested, if you want to book in for a class, like whatever it is, whatever interaction you want, shoot me a DM. Right. And then as soon as they shoot you DM, guess what? You're going to send them a video message straight away. Right. Make sure, by the way, if you send a video message through Instagram, there's 3 options. There's play once, allow replay, and keep in messages, I think. Make sure you always have it on keep in messages, because otherwise you send a video message, it plays without the sound on because they've got their sound turned down, and then it's gone. And then you've lost them. So make sure you click on that. But get some sort of engagement, right? Get them to communicate with you. That's the whole point. You want to be spending time in those DMs talking to people that you've never met before, right? Connecting with them. It's incredibly important. And then as soon as, they're expecting some, short message with a couple of, poor spelling, poor grammar, and maybe a smiley face at the end. And then what they actually get back is a video message from you, which, by the way, took you less time to film than it took you to write it. So, I personally do this because I got shit to do, right? It's a lot faster to do a video message.
And no one else is doing it. I can tell you right now, no other gym is doing that. You're the first. If you do this, you are the first gym doing this. No one else is doing it. So, why not lead the way, Why not live in 2019 and do the things that people do, like send video messages.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So important. So important.
Sure.
Did you know, fun fact, I didn't know what they stood for until recently. Like, for a long, I couldn't work out. I was too embarrassed to ask anyone. I finally Googled
dick
it, but I just don't know what DM was.
It's a dick message,
But,
isn't it? That's where you send dick messages.
That's it, yeah. I found that out on the Google, yeah. No, it's good. Moving on to point number 2.
Oh, quickly before point Point number 2, that point number 2?
Yeah, that's one. That's your one. That's your cue.
Well, can I do a quick thing before then?
Yeah, get in there.
Oh, let's go for it. All right, really quickly, guys. Coming up, we've got seminars. If you think you get a whole bunch out of this podcast, then just imagine what you would get of 2 days of intense, I think they're like 9-hour days, with myself, with Vakey, with Remy Meyer, we bring all sorts of people. It's not just my ugly mug. You don't just have to listen to me carry on. So the seminars we've got coming up are Manchester on the 29th and 30th of June, Amsterdam on the 6th and 7th of July. At both of those seminars, Remy Meyer from Max Out Your Gym is running the marketing portion. Incredibly valuable stuff. The only marketing guru that is not full of shit, in my opinion. Then we've got Vancouver on the 17th and 18th of August, Mexico City on the 24th and 25th, which you're going to be at. We're going to have a killer time. We're going to hang out in Mexico for a little bit. So any of our Mexican peeps listening, if you want to catch up, let us know. We love your country. Then we're finally finishing off the year with Johannesburg 2nd and 3rd of November, Cape Town 9th and 10th of November. Going to wrestle some lions, swim with some sharks, have a damn good time. Also, early bird tickets to a lot of these. Early bird tickets are still available. They're $100 off. And to all of these, you can bring your staff for only $50 each, because we want you working with your staff. They're a part of your team. They need to know what you know. Anyway.
It's good, man. Can't wait for the seminars.
It's going to be a killer.
So next topic on Instagram is something that I'm very new at. I'm going to start putting a lot more effort and time into, and that is Instagram TV, IGTV. Probably something that a lot of you haven't done yourself, but I'm sure that you've seen things pop up on your feed, videos where the person's half their face is cut off and it's got like a little logo at the bottom that looks a little bit different to the Instagram logo. So it's essentially a different app you got to download, right? Instagram TV app. But you can upload videos that you've pre-filmed on your phone. So the way I see this being really helpful, and a good example of this is the UFC. I've never really been into UFC much. I follow their account, and just recently I've been caught by their Instagram TV previews on my feed.
Yep.
And I've started to really get into these little spliced up clips they put out of the fights that have gone over the weekend, or old fights. And I'm getting really interested in UFC just purely through the Instagram TV efforts. So the way I see this, working for me and for other gym owners is those ideas you get, those, you're driving along the car and you go, oh man, I've got this great idea that would make an awesome article, an awesome video. I would pull over to the side of the road, and, download the Instagram TV app, or just use your camera on your phone and, just talk about the idea that you just had. It's like a 1 to 3 minute video that you can then put on Instagram TV. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, my prediction, by the way, guys, is IGTV, it's already... as an app, it's already started to be put into some TVs, right? So you got TVs that have already got Netflix built into them and Amazon and stuff like that. IGTV is already starting to go into there. So it's a serious player. They're trying to compete with the likes of YouTube primarily as a content platform. So in case you don't know, it's a separate app where you can have longer content from a minute up to, it depends on who you are. Some people can go up to an hour. Some people only have 10 minutes. And it's just vertical, wherever my phone's gone, it's just vertical content, right? So it's the same as TV, but this way, right? So you've got to edit and film with that in mind. Now, as an app, as a separate app itself, I don't think it's really worth it. I spend a lot of time on Instagram. I spend zero time on IGTV itself, right? I think the user experience just isn't quite there yet. It's not as searchable as it needs to be. It's kind of in your face a bit. But Instagram wants IGTV to be a big deal. So right now, if you post something to IGTV, right? So you do it through the IGTV app, then you click the first option when you go to post it is post to Instagram feed. You have to click that. When you click that, it'll now take that video. It'll put a 1 minute preview into your Instagram feed and therefore into everyone who follows yours feed as well, right? And it'll play the first 1 minute. And then what people can do down the bottom is a little icon, and that icon will expand towards the end of the minute saying, after the minute preview on Instagram, do you want to keep watching on IGTV? What I love is if you do, like with the UFC stuff, you watch the first minute and then you go, you know what, I want to watch the next 10 minutes of this fight. You click on that, it'll open up the full screen vertical experience, but in Instagram. It doesn't take you over to IGTV, which would be just a pain in the ass more than anything, right? So then when you're done, you get out of it, you're back in Instagram, you keep scrolling, right? So that's a cool experience in general, right? It's a really good way to take long form content. So things like your longer member member stories, the thoughts, conversations, rants that you might want to have in your car, any content that you've previously produced, like for us, we have over 300 videos that we've produced over the years. Why not reuse those? And that's what we're doing with IGTV. But because Instagram really wants IGTV to take off, it's pushing these posts out organically, right? So if I put up a normal, like one of our videos just as a normal post in Instagram, right, it might get, this much, let's say that. That's exactly how many likes. You can measure them, right? Exactly 1 kilo of likes is what it'll get. But if I take the same post and put it out through Instagram TV, it'll get double, triple, a lot more likes than that. And it's presented in a lot more of a unique way, right? So right now, it's all, everyone's heard about the algorithm, right? We never know everything about the algorithm, but what we do know about the algorithm right now is that it's preferring the IGTV posts. So put them, if you've got long form content, it usually doesn't fit on Instagram, put it out on IGTV. Yeah, absolutely. Strongly recommend that. Few things they need to consider with IGTV.
Yeah, the thing I love about it is, so it's going to do that 1 minute preview, and there lies a challenge for me. Is like, okay, how can I earn the right for this person, or how can I, get them to click through to watch the rest of it? So that first minute is going to be super important. You've got to make sure that whatever you're talking about, whatever you're covering, is mentioned early on in that minute, so they can get kind of excited about the topic. So, for example, if you're going to repost a member's story, I would pick out the best part of that story, the most punchy or most impacting sentence that person said. I'd put that at the very front of the video, so that that's part of the preview. And so, yes, I like that. There's a bit of responsibility from our side, again, to not waste people's time, but to earn that, that click to view the full video.
Absolutely. You've also got to understand as well, guys, that even though it's a 9:16, so it's a vertical aspect ratio, when Instagram puts it in your feed and does the preview of it on someone else's feed, it will only show the middle part, right? So it'll cut off the top, it'll cut off the bottom. So you have to be aware of that when you're posting it, because otherwise, like you said, what we see is a lot of these Instagram story videos where it's from here to here type thing, and it just looks a little bit silly. So just be aware. If you're taking content that was shot normally, which I don't think we can say normally anymore because the norm has changed, but if it was shot horizontally like this and you're editing it, obviously you've got to be aware of what's in the middle. A lot of time the subject is off center, so you've got to edit for that. But also just be aware that when you take that IGTV vertical video, put it in or share it, cross-post it, I guess, into Instagram feed, only the middle section will show, right? The middle, 4/5.
That's it. Yeah, but I think the same rule applies across the board for any content. So the content itself needs to be rich and good for it to perform well, or it needs to be edited really well and look really professional. So yes, so although these things are being pushed out organically more than they normally would, that doesn't excuse you from putting up crappy content. There still needs to be some value there. To make sure that the person's going to come back, or they're going to click it again next time they see your mug on the screen. So. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Last thing, guys, our quick tips for putting this together, because, you can't, well, you can, but you need other apps and it doesn't always work, but you can't really schedule all this stuff out. It's not as easy as just spend a whole day on Instagram stuff and then, forget about it forever. So you do have to put a little bit of work in, but you can make your life a lot easier if you batch this stuff, right? So sit down and come up with the next 2 weeks or the next month's worth of content, right? For me personally, I have a running list even for my Instagram stories. If I think of, that'll be a cool Instagram story, but I've already done Instagram stories today, so I'll just add it to the list, right? If I can't come up with an idea in a couple of days' time, I can go to the list and cool, I've got that. I'm at least batching my ideas for something. If you're creating these videos and you're editing them down like you need to for IGTV, do a bunch of them at once. Don't just go in and edit one and then, next week, oh, fuck, I've got to edit another one, right? Actually batch the work, because there's a lot of work there if you do it on every single one.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest downfall for gym owners and for any business owner really, is the lack of consistency and the stress of going, I've got to put something out again this week or today. And then, eventually you just stop creating stuff because it just becomes too hard to be consistent, which is where the success lies, is in the consistency. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Second tip would be, after you've batched it, schedule it, right? Again, now it's not like Facebook where we can schedule posts, but you can literally schedule yourself. So set an alarm for, every Tuesday, Thursday at 10:30 a.m. or whatever your insights say is the best time to post. You need to be checking that. And just schedule a little alarm that goes, hey, post a story, or hey, post to IGTV, or hey, whatever it is. So at least then you're not relying on memory. You're not relying on, by the way, the hype that a lot of you guys will watch this and be like, yeah, right? You get that hype, but that runs out eventually. The real world takes over. So definitely schedule that in.
Absolutely. And if you are going to give the IGTV and things a go, my recommendation would be do it on your personal feed first, because that doesn't really matter, just a personal feed, before you jump on your business page. So get some practice, figure out how it all works, and then, when you feel confident, then, go and put some great stuff out on your business page.
Absolutely. And then last thing is, as Vegi said, consistency, right? You can't just do this a whole bunch. It's like working out, right? You can't come and do 8 days of training this week and then expect to have abs. It's not about that. It's about, this is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about the long game. It's about just being consistent. 3 posts, 4 posts, a story each day, every single day. Just build it up. If you want momentum, if you want results, you've got to have that consistency. There's no way around that at all.
It's true.
Beautiful. Lastly, guys, on Instagram, if you're not already, follow us on Instagram. In case you can't tell, we're putting a lot more of our efforts into Instagram now. We haven't abandoned Facebook or YouTube or any of the other platforms, but Instagram is where we're putting our efforts. Every day I'm putting out a ton of value on Instagram. It's kind of crazy. Some of the stuff that I put out there is stuff that people pay us a lot at seminars and stuff like this for, but it's gone within 24 hours. So you've got to get in there and you've got to act on it. So follow us at VivHQ, VIVHQ. It's the same on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure you follow us. You don't want to miss out on that stuff. And it's free. Why not? And also tag us. If you're doing something, tag us. I want to share what you're doing with the world. I hate to know that there's over 1,000 boxes out there doing cool shit that we've worked with, and I don't know what it is. So tag us, again, at VivHQ. So that we can see that stuff. And if it's awesome, I want to repost it. I want to share it with the world. I want to inspire other people, whether it's in the box or out of the box. If you're climbing some mountain in the middle of nowhere and you can do that because you have freedom from a business that you've built to success, I want to fucking share that with the world. So please tag us, follow us, but most importantly, tag us.
So good. If you want to follow Ty, it's at Sexy Ty 2019 or something.
Yeah. At Ty Instaho. 2069.
So good.
Awesome, guys. So that's it. That's killing the Insta game. I hope that helped a bunch, guys. This is something we're very passionate about. It's exciting because it's all changing, and we've been banging on about Facebook for so many years. So if you've got any questions about this or anything else, drop them in the comments below or above or wherever they are on this platform. If you want us to talk about anything specific, please let us know. You can shoot us a message. If there's any guests that you think we should have on, anyone that you know, or if you're a person and you think you have something to say about anything to do with this industry, let us know. And besides that, guys, have an amazing rest of the week. I'll see you next time. Thanks, bro.
See you on the gram.
Gotcha.